view of where we're at with the warriors. We have a very like funky thing going on right now. So Queen's Knight for the yeet. Or the summon, Ina for the recur, Makani, so we get a little bit of search. We only need one of those, I find, really, because it actually works better to keep the deck streamlined. The 3 of our hand trap, same thing with the Water Lady Nalu, 1 king, just to kind of so you have the corresponding like 4-star monsters, right? Okay, because we're doing like a 4-star build, sort of like 4-star warriors of light and chaos, perhaps somewhere in there. Synergizes in a very strange sort of way. Have our elemental saber Lapalia, probably the first important one. Then we have the elemental saber Molyneux. I do both of those at 3 because you need them. You cycle through them. They're the 4-star elemental sabers. Obviously, Lapalia is a like a negate, back row negate. So if they try to start digging through the deck, if they try to activate really any kind of thing except for a monster effect, right? Then you're good. You're kind of covered, and it's such a good thing because it synergizes really great with Joker's Knight. Joker's Knight allows us to be able to recur any of our elemental sabers back into the deck, and because he pulls from the deck, we can constantly either shove back a Queen's Knight or a King's Knight back into the deck, or we can shove a Lapalia if we need negates. We can shove a Molyneux if, like, a Chaos Max Dragon or whatever shows up, or something that's got to get flipped down. Any of that. And then if we get into like non-target destruction, then we can wait around until we pull up some of our support. We can go into the support though. So I've gushed about Joker's Knight. Lapalia mana. I don't think you do an elemental saber build without Lapalia mana, but it presents an interesting challenge for people, and I find that while people are trying to solve the riddle of how do I kill Lapalia mana, in whichever form you choose to present him based on the element sabers that you yeet to the graveyard, when you're doing that, you can be setting up some of the better plays, because it's a good stop. Like, people really have to the question is, can you get over Lapalia mana? Can you get over like 3,700 or 3,800? I know in a lot of cases we can, but doing it and then doing it repeatedly is a challenge. Getting your spells and using your spells repeatedly is going to be a challenge against this deck, because we've really just got a lot of ammunition. I try not to do it's not a board spam sort of build. This is a non-board spam build to kind of resist the Nibiru. Whoa, Phil Swift. How are you, Shadow? What are you playing? Are you playing Masterduel with us, sir? I could certainly use your sage advice. Oof. But so that's Lapalia mana, and I thought, you don't run one without him, but he's a fun guy. He shows up all the time. Blackluster Soldier is in here for the funsies because I can. And then the for real answers on when we need non-target destruction, back row, or on the monsters is we'll go through Makani, then search out the Dumbird or whatever the Christmas topper. I don't know. He looks like a Christmas topper, like an angel, but you like not like a lady angel, like a like the Bible angel with 1,000 eyes and it's spinning around and fire's coming out of it or whatever. All right, you got this is the captain that exists in the deck. It's Rhoda. Okay. Terraforming. Sad that it's at 1, but it's another way to get to what we want to. I run salvage in this build because literally any of the element sabers can turn themselves into water except for mana. And this ends up being a really great way to like recur themselves back to the hand. Now, of course, it does have the other requirements, 1,500 or less attack, etc. But for me, for the purposes of getting back like La Paulia, getting back Aina, all of that, it works incredibly well. So this is the star of the deck now. This is the star. Hello, trolling. Hello, trolling. All my friends are here. Thank you. So slash draw is the actual star of the deck because it allows you to repeat so many of these repeatable effects that don't have the hard once per turns. And that's really what allows like the nonsense to happen. I was able to activate like Elemental Palace like 4 or 5 times on this poor Dark Magician deck. I felt very bad. I'm good, trolling. I'm very good. How are you? Please tell me what you've been up to. We were on slash draw. I'm tying up a top knot while we're talking about slash draw. And what makes slash draw great is that it allows me to, one, yeet something to the graveyard in the deck that I benefit from it the most. 2, it allows me to reorganize the graveyard so that if I have used already some of my support, like Rhoda or Salvage or any of the palaces, any of that, I can then recur those things back into the deck and then possibly redraw them. Second, if I've gone second or if I'm in a particularly losing situation, it does present the interesting scenario where it, one, allows you to loop those resources back into your hand. 2, if you can like basically start counting your cards up to a certain point and like you can count when you're gonna get your other slash draw, and you could I've 9,000 FTK'd like someone with slash draw, or well, my FTK on the turn 2. Yeah, I got a whole thing. I'll try to, maybe I'll show you the video here in a second. I can show you the video of me against this Dark Magician deck. She gave me a run for the money for sure, because I thought for a hot second that I was in it. So that's the slash draw. 1 copy of Face Card Fusion, because it allows us to, as long as we have one of the Poker Knights on the field, we can choose one warrior out of the deck, basically any warrior, and then we just choose someone of a different element. It's an incredibly easy way to get out favorite boy Guilty Gearfried. And again, Guilty Gearfried is one of those monsters that presents an interesting challenge, and where I'm like, no, but you need to get over him. You need to become stronger than him. And yes, it can happen. People do it, right? But can you do all I use it for? But I do use it so that I can be selective about what I want to throw into the graveyard, so that if I have the opportunity to recur someone back to the hand through the graveyard, I can be selective in that sort of way. I would say it's an extend. It's an extend because it's really an embellishment on a turn to get Gearfried out. And then so this is the real shenanigans. Is I also run in addition to the 3 copies of Palace of Elemental Lords, which is a nonsense card that allows you to just read this. Okay, all monsters you control gain attack and defense equal to the number of different attributes in your graveyard. In a deck full of monsters, we can change the attributes of everybody in the graveyard. You understand? Like, once per turn, you can add 1 elemental saber monster from your deck to the hand, but then you skip the battle phase of your next turn. Not this turn, next turn. Okay, keep that in your brain. Yo, I just saw there's people that are actually doing like Exodia. They're bringing it back. They're bringing it back. the Yugi boomers are coming out of hibernation. I don't know if I mean, like, I'm definitely a Yugi boomer and then I'm like older, but not, I mean, like, I've been at it for a little while. I mean, we were playing Link Evolution for friggin' 2 years here almost. But so I digress. Palace of Elemental Lords is an absolute nonsense card because it allows you to search from the deck, grab an elemental saber, the one that cancels spells, the one that flips people down, the one that brings people back to life, the one that people searches, you know, elemental lords out of the deck. Any of those, okay, you can search them, including up to the one that can't die or the one that can't be, you know, destroyed by unless he's not targeted. And then it's not a once per turn even. And so you can do that, and you can just stack palaces on top of each other, and it's really gross. It's actually kind of gross. Lair of Darkness is great in this deck because we can manipulate our attributes in the graveyard freely. It doesn't interact in that regard. It provides us some very minor defense if we're ever in a situation where we do need to like spawn a token. We can eat up the opponent's board with a token, in conjunction with elemental training. Being able to yeet the opponent's monsters via tribute to then give myself an elemental saber, you know, and then use that to go into, you know, time bandit and Smokey over here. Like, it's actually gross. Now, I'm not of any illusion that this is in meta in any way. It's probably subversive of the meta in some ways. But it's fun shenanigans. It's very fun shenanigans. Topping off, double forbidden droplets. The one metaverse in case I need to like pivot from one to the other, or in case I haven't found it. And then those triple elemental trainings. The extra deck as follows. Favorite boy, Guilty Gearfried, the magical steel knight. Okay. He's great because almost everyone in the whole deck is a material for him. Has an interesting effect with the negate when used in conjunction if you happen to have a poker knight on the field, which you probably are. He also does get a second attack. The negate is actually useful in terms of presenting a physical challenge, because I think that's what this deck does. Maybe this is a slightly evolved version of, you know, Unga Bunga, right? This is like the Thinking Man's Unga Bunga, I'd like to think. Because we present different win options here. We're including as many hand traps and negates as we can. We're trying not to, you know, we're trying to subvert the meta of, like, you know, complete board spam. I'm still learning how to use the extra deck, though. Because, so, Guilty Gearfried is essentially very easy to get out, because any two of the monsters on the field are going to make Predaplant Verte. Predaplant Verte is going to make Guilty Gear Freed via the face card fusion. But what has been harder is it works out really well when you've got elemental training in the back row already, so that way you can swap out Verte for somebody else before he gets like wrecked. Back here, Isolde for the search, essentially. Same thing with Ferocious for the put back on the field. Verte for the fusion summon. And then we got Blackluster Soldier. 3 different monsters with different names. I felt like this was going to be the best way to not try to keep us under the allure of wanting to spam the board, right? And he does give us some potential options, banishing a card on the field. I do like that. I do like a non-destroy answer. So BLS presents a non-destroy answer. We did, for a hot second, have Charging Gaia the Fierce Knight in here. And the use case was that when you tribute Charging Gaia the Fierce Knight, you get the double effect of searching out BLS vanilla, and then also getting the the effect from Lair of Darkness or Elemental Training. Let me show you what we had. Masterduel is under maintenance. Okay. Oh, all right. Well, that was, I guess it was, ta-da! This was my Masterduel Elemental Saber Poker Knight deck profile. Ta-da! My goodness, I just sneezed my head off. How did this happen? How did this happen? Well, I guess this will be a short stream. I wasn't planning for this to happen. Probably for us to really put out the links there. They are in chat. Feel free to click on the Discord. Join our Discord community. It's an inclusive little space. I'm trying to start up a little, like a Yugi Boomer night school kind of deal. You know what I mean? And I would just be tickled pink if you would happen to join us there. If you happen to like anything you saw here, if you think that Elemental Saber Poker Knight engine is a neat little thing, neat little tip, perhaps you'll give me a like, maybe a follow. Helps out the channel quite a bit. We're always trying to improve the channel, grow the community, contribute in some small, positive, perhaps minor way. And with that said, my name's Ro, and I'm a go. See ya.